So good afternoon, all of you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay. So hope you all are better. We have started the important topic, that is identity. In the first lecture, I have given you the important thing related about the identity, basic thing related to the identity. So what is identity? Identity is the determination of individuality of a person. Then in the first lecture, we have learned about the types of the identity. So what are the types of the identity? These are the complete and incomplete identity. So complete identity means exact specification of an individual is known as a complete identity. And incomplete identity, that there are some features of that individuals are known, that is known as the incomplete identity. So exact specification of an individual is known as the complete identity. And some factors about that individual is known as the incomplete identity. So I will again revise that the identity is defined as determination of an individuality of a person. There are two types of the identity. One is known as complete identity. Complete identity means exact specification of an individual, while incomplete identity means there are some parameters about that individual is known, that is known as the incomplete identity. Then we have seen the different parameters with which the identity can be determined, like race, religion, nationality, age, sex, stature, color of hairs, any congenital abnormality, different types of the print like fingerprint, lip print, footprint, palette print. So all these things we are going to learn during this identity chapter. Today I am going to concentrate only one important parameter, that is the sex determination. When sex determination is required, when the body is decoupled, or in a live person, when there is gonadal degenesis. What is gonadal degenesis? What is gonadal agenesis? All we are going to see in this lecture. So, what are the different parameters with which identity can be determined? These are the different parameters with which identity is determined. These are physical appearance, bones, microscopic study of sex chromatin, gonadal biopsy, and hormonal study. So with all these parameters, we can give some clue to the investigating officer for the identity of that individual. So physical appearance is the common sense, but it is not conclusive. Bones, in a practical, you have learnt about the trauma bones, how the identity or that person's sex can be determined. Microscopic study of sex chromatin, gonadal biopsy, hormonal study. So one each by each we are going to learn this. First is the physical characteristics. So the physical characteristics is that most certain evidence in a physical characteristics. These are the different parameters with which the sex can be determined, and is the common sense that general build, that is the muscular in male, less muscular in female, scalp hair, short and coarse in male, long and fine in female, eyebrow hair, coarse and thick in male, fine and thin in female. Then about body weight, height, all these things are the common sense. Breast present in female, female, while in male breast is not present. Like this, these are the things with which the identity or the sex of that person can be differentiated. Like from Adamy is prominent, facial hairs are present in male, while female it is absent. Then hair on other parts of the body, grow on over the chest, limb in male more predominantly as compared to female, but in female also then can be. So these are not the conclusive signs, but with these signs you can get some idea about the sex of that person. Then what are the most certain evidence related to the sex of that? Presence of testes in male and ovaries in females. That is the most certain evidence to determine the sex. And it is shown by ejaculation in case of male, while menstruation in case of female. These are the most certain evidence with which sex of that person in a live person can be determined. We are now speaking about the live person. In dead person, how to determine what are the different parameters? Most important parameter is from the bones and after some chromosomal or the biopsy study, with which from dead bodies also can. Now we will concentrate on the live. So presence of testes males, ovaries in females, and in a live it by the shown by ejaculation in case of male, while in females that of the by the menstruation. Then what are highly probable evidences? In female, presence of breast, vagina, appropriate muscular development, absence of mustache, beard hair, chest hair. If there is hormonal imbalance in females, that other parameters can be males absence of breast tissue appropriate, but in gynecomastia in males also that. But we are speaking in general. So these are in general. With these evidences, you can say that about the give the opinion about the sex. Is it clear? Then presence of penis, mustache, beard. These are the probable and presumptive evidence are the face, dress. So you know that the dress from dress is very difficult nowadays. Then costume, hairs, because in males also some style that they long hairs are there. Voice, if there is some abnormality, some males has a feminine voice also. So like this, but these all are the presumptive evidence. So I have already told what are the other features that is about the general build, scarf hairs, or from these you can determine the. Can you see the slides? Can you see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
huh? My slides are visible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes,
Yes, sir.
okay, okay, okay. There is technical problem. I cannot do on a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know why. So you can see next are the you have seen nuclear sexing. It's very important. Many times short note comes on it. The sex can be determined studying presence of Barr bodies, Davidson body, and Y chromosome. These are the most commonly asked Viva questions. What are Barr bodies? What are Davidson's body? What are Y and how the Y chromosomes can be determined? So usually Barr bodies and Davidson body are mostly present in the females. So what are the Barr bodies? Here internet connection is not there. That's why I cannot show you the picture. But you can imagine that in a cell it is present as a convex, plano-convex nuclear condensation seen at the inner surface of the nucleus. You know, cell is there, and in cell there is the nucleus. And at the nucleus, this type, small disc type, like this is the if you imagine this the nucleus and small layer is here. This type black color is seen that are the Bohr bodies. And in females, more than 40% of buccal mucosa consists of the Bohr body. If Bohr body is present, then you can give that evidence that it may be of a this body may be of a female. And it is and in males also 10% nucleus contains the chromatin body. Understood? So it is helpful, Barr bodies are helpful in differentiating the sex. So remember that in females, 40% nuclei from the buccal mucosa consist of the Barr body. If on this study, or on histopathological slide, you can see the bar body. You can say most probably the body is of a female. But you cannot use under because it is only 40% it is present. So that is about the bar body. Then there is Davidson body. If these are present in a Davidson body are present in a nucleated blood cells. What are nucleated blood cells? These are two. That is the lymphocytes and the neutrophils as well as eosinophils. And in that RBCs, it is not nucleated, so it is not seen in RBCs because nucleus is not there. So Davidson body is present in a blood cell. It is in a WBC. What WBC? Neutrophils, eosinophils. Now Davidson body is drumstick like that. There is the circular circle is there and one stick like appearance. So that is it is elongated or it is present on a nucleus from it considered from a nucleus. After my lecture, you can refer Nandi or any book in that the figure is given. I cannot put that figure, not able to due to this the technical problem. But you can imagine that in a Davidson body is present in 6% of the polymorphic WBC and it is drumstick like protein and present at the periphery of the this and it is absent in males while it is present in females. Is it clear? Then Y chromosome. The Y chromosomes are present in males and fluorescent for quinacrine and dihydrochloride. From where it is can be studied from blood stains, cartilage, bone marrow, pimple, hair pulse. From here you can see the or study about the Y chromosome. So with these nuclear sex. So nuclear sexing is done by bar bodies and Davidson body in Y chromosome. Bar bodies and Davidson bodies are more common in females. If it is present, you can say that the body is of a female and Y chromosomes are naturally present in a male. Is it clear? So we have seen up till now there are different parameters. First parameter is the physical characters. We have seen with this, it's the common sense from a physical character. But 100% you cannot say. Seeing the physical character that he is male or she is female. Then what are another methods? Another methods are the nuclear sexing. In nuclear sexing, what are the different things? That are the bar bodies. Bar bodies where is present? 40% of the female bar bodies are present, while 6% of a female Davidson body and Y chromosome. Naturally, it is present in the males. So that is about the nuclear sex. Then what are the intersex states? So these are the conditions. These are the conditions where both male and female characteristics coexist. And what is gonadal? Gonads fail to develop. That is nuclear sex is chromatin negative. While gonadal degenesis is the external genital of the present, but testes and ovaries are not present. Means penis and vagina is present, but testes and ovaries are not present. And in gonadal genesis, there is no external genitalia as well as internal. That is gonadal agenesis, and in gonadal degenesis, external genitalia is present while testes and ovaries are absent. Then the short note comes, and you must have learned in a first year also in embryology what is Klinefelter syndrome and what is Turner syndrome. So we'll see in detail about each. Klinefelter syndrome is present in 500 to 1000 male newborns. Anatomical structure is of a male. It is chromatin positive. The chromatin pattern is either 47XXY, 48XXY, 48 triple XY, while 48XXYY. Usually undiagnosed till the puberty. Klinefelter syndrome, testes are small, firm in consistency, there is aspermia, no semen, hyalonized testes histology. Gynecomastia is usually present and there is sexual incoitism, means long arm and legs, scanty pubic hair growth, may not have growth, that is mustache and hair is not present. So person is usually tall with long slender arms, legs, scanty absent facial hair, axillary hair, and pubic hair, and thin white. These are the characteristics of the Klinefelter. So short note can come on a Klinefelter. Again, I will repeat. That is the chromatin 47 XXY or 48 triple XY. Sorry for spelling mistake, or 48 XX the YY, and usually present in a male. It is chromatin positive. These gynecomastia can be present or sexually incognito is present. Internal syndrome, anatomical structure is of a female, nuclear sexing is male, and chromosomal pattern is 45X. Then the person usually of a short stature, there is lack of development of sexually secondary characteristics, then associated with primary amenorrhea, grossly underdeveloped breast with widely spread nipples, scanty pubic hair, then congenital anomalies like web neck, cubitus valgus, coarctation of the aorta, osteoporosis, renal abnormalities, red-green color blindness, all these are present in a Turner syndrome. I will again repeat. So Turner syndrome, that anatomical structure is of a female, nuclear sexing is male, chromatin negative, and chromosomal pattern is of a 45X0. While in a Turner syndrome, the person is usually of a short stature. There is lack of development of secondary sexual characteristics. Undeveloped breast is present in that female. Widely spaced nipples are present. Scanty pubic hair, axillary hair, infantile tubes, and strict ovaries are present. No ovarian follicle and fibrous, and it consists of most of the fibrous tissue. Congenital anomalies like wave neck, cubitus valgus, coarctation of aorta, osteoporosis, renal abnormalities, and red-green color blindness is present in Turner syndrome. So these two things are very important. Many times short note has come on this. Then the true hermaphroditism, a rare condition wherein external genitalia may be of both sexes, but internally there is presence of both testes, ovaries, testes and ovaries. So a rare condition wherein external genitalia may be opposite. There may be the vagina as well as penis, both are present, but internally usually both testes and ovaries are present, and that is known as a true hermaphroditism. Then there is pseudo-hermaphroditism, external characteristic of one sex, while internal or gonads are opposite sex. In male pseudo-hermaphroditism, nuclear sexing is XY, sex organ and sexual characteristics are of a female form. And in female pseudo-hermaphroditism, nuclear sexing is XX and sex organ and sexual characteristics of a male. So I have understood that external characteristics are of a one sex and gonads are of a opposite sex. Means in male pseudo-hermaphroditism, the sex organs and sexual characteristics means there is vagina, but internally there are testes. And in female pseudo-hermaphroditism, the sex organ is of a penis, but there are ovaries inside. So that is known as the pseudo-hermaphroditism. What is the medical legal importance of the sex? That is, it is present in marriage, nullity of marriage, inheritance, rape cases, maternity cases, paternity cases, in employment, contesting for election, and for other civil rights. This sex is very important. Then the main important method and conclusive method to determine sex is from the bones. And the viva question or short note come, what is Krogman's criteria? Krogman's criteria consists of the accuracy with which you can give the opinion about the sex from the study of the bone. If whole or entire skeleton is present, 100% accuracy you can take. Is it of male or female? If pelvis and skull is present, 98% accuracy is there. While only with pelvis, 95% accuracy is. While with a skull, only on skull, 90% accuracy. And with the long ones, 80%. And this criteria of accuracy is known as the Krogman's criteria. Where Krogman's criteria is used to differentiate sex. And what is its accuracy? Its accuracy is that when entire skeleton is present, it's 100%. While pelvis and skull is present, it gives 98%. While only pelvis 95% accuracy, only skull 90% accuracy, long bones 80% accuracy. And in the your practical thing, you have studied all the bones, how to differentiate the sex from the skull. That is, size is larger in male while smaller in female. Gabella is less prominent in male while more prominent in female. Supraorbital ridge is more prominent in male while less prominent in female. Mastoid process is more prominent in male while in female it is less prominent. Zygomatic arc is more pronounced in male. Like this are the different parameters with which from a skull you can differentiate is it of a male or is it of a female. So orbits are lower and relative smaller in male, while in female it is higher and relative larger. Nasion is more distinct in male, while it is less distinct in a female. Malar prominence more prominent in male, while that less in female. Occipital condyles are large in male, while female it is small. Palate are larger and U-shaped in male, while smaller in female. Digastric groove is deeper in male, while shallow in female. Frontal sinus is more developed in male, while small in female. Teeth are larger in male, and female it is small. So that are the difference. And in when you come to the college, I will again show you practically the skull, male skull and female, then you will better understand. But for a theoretical purpose, it's a theory class, you can understand this. Then the differentiative features in mandible, larger in male, smaller in female. Anatomical angle. Anatomical angle means the angle outwards, that is everted in male, inverted in female. And there is another angle that is known as medical angle, that is the inner angle where the teeth are present. So that angle and chin is present, that angle is known as anatomical, and inner angle is the medical angle. Medical angle is important for determination of age, while anatomical angle is determination of the sex. So inverted in male, female it is inverted. Chin is square shaped in male, roundish in female, shaped V-shaped in male, while in female it is U-shaped. Mental tubercle, large and prominent in male, less and insignificant in female. Myelin prominent and deep in male, while in female is less prominent and shallow. Then height of symphysis is more in male, while in female it is less. So these are the differentiating points between upper mandible. Then hip bone. Male